All right, man. We are officially live right here on YouTube. Hello, everyone. Welcome back, then. Welcome back to another exciting episode. Aaron's Opinion TV. We are live. Actually, this is my first live stream ever with Ian Naidu. Ian Naidu. So, of course, now we'll have to hold on one second. Okay. All right. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, good. Good. You're still there. Okay, excellent. Can you hear me well?
Yes, loud and clear.
Perfect. Okay. Now I will give you an hour of my time here, and this hour will become actually the podcast itself. Now, of course, people, you guys at home from around the world, as far as we're concerned, I am still live on YouTube. Hoping that all of these things are working out. They really should be. And it's about time that we gave this little push with a really, really fascinating person. Let me just pull up my stopwatch here. Okay, that's definitely right. Voiceover off.
Okay, I'll hold down the fort.
Holy moly. Voiceover off. Okay, which means we need to push record. Are you ready to record?
Yes, sir, I am
Okay, very
waiting for
good.
you.
Excellent. You're a very good guest. You're very quiet. I just have to be careful that you aren't disconnected just because you're quiet. Okay then. So we are live. Okay then. So we are definitely recording on this. One, three. Okay. Welcome back, everybody. Let's really dig. Let's really dig right into it by me saying thank you so much. We have now an hour on the clock. By me saying thank you so much, Ian Naidu, all the way over there in South Africa. A very good evening with a very patient guest. I'll begin this episode just like any other. Who is Ian Naidu? You can begin by telling your life story, how you became blind, the education stuff, the nonprofit. Walk through the hour, and I'll help you as you tell your story.
Good evening, good morning to all the viewers around the globe, and welcome to Aaron's Opinion. Well, the man always says, help one today and help million tomorrow. That's an amazing way to help humanity, especially those who are living in the disability community. Hi to everyone. My name is Ian Naidu. I'm born on the 7th of October 1966. My story begins as such. My grandparents, my mom's and my dad's side, came from India in 1860 to work in South Africa as slaves in the sugar industry. And they were told that when they reach South Africa, they will find the streets paved with gold. It was like telling somebody, you're going to heaven and you're going to find these things there. So this is where my narrative starts. I am now in South Africa because of my late forefathers that came here to 1860. And that is how many of the viewers are now wondering, how come Ian is an Indian and living in South Africa? So that is how we came to be in South Africa. Moving on, many decades later, I was born on the 7th of October 1966 in a little town called Clearwood. In this town, 65,000 Indians lived in this town. It was a beautiful town, thriving, bustling, suburb where the poor Indians lived and made a living in the fishing industry, in the railway industry, and in the sugar industry. And many Indians at that time were used as housekeepers, slaves in the gardens, tea bushes, tea plantations, etc. So I was born with perfect eyesight, and I was a very gifted child. Uh, my mother and my dad already seen the early intelligence that I had as growing up as a baby. Then disaster struck in 1970 when I was 3 years, 6 months. It was during the Easter period when my niece was playing with a knife and she was busy poking a box on the stoop in our house in Clearwood. And at that time, my mom and dad were working parents. So my auntie, Vera, was my nanny and she had to take care of me. So it was a very scary scene to see a 3-year-old girl poking a box, and my auntie was worried that she might injure herself. So my auntie told my niece Mala, Reddy, give her the knife. And as stubborn as she was, she refused to give the knife. So my auntie lackadaisically, unconsciously, which I forgive her for, didn't pay much attention to Mala. And then the curious little Ian waited for an opportunity to climb down the steps and to take the knife away from Mala. And then as I got to Mala poking the box, I reached out my hand to take the knife, and then she let the knife go right into my right eye. And instantly I was blinded in my right eye. It was a very sad day to the viewers and Aaron. My mom and dad had big aspirations for me, and all that was like now seemingly going through a funnel into the drain as I had just lost my right eye. So my parents were summoned, and I was rushed to the hospital. Upon getting treatment at the King Edward VIII Hospital in Durban, they found that there's nothing they can do, and so they had to break the bad news to my mom and dad that Ian just lost his eyesight through a very freaky accident. And now I had to stay in hospital for 3 months. The doctors tried the best, the level best. I went for several, if not maybe more than 36 operations just to see if they could restore my eyesight. But with all endeavors, I have to say they failed. And I'm so grateful for the doctors, really, especially Dr. Javari, who was a ophthalmic surgeon who studied in Canada, and he tried his utmost best and he failed. So it was in early July. They discharged me from hospital, and then I had to go home with one eye less. And it was the July holidays, and my house was like a barnyard scene during the holidays, where all my cousins from another area known as Chatsworth would come for holidays and spend the time with us. So one day I decided to uh, go out of the house as my dad warned my brother to keep an eye on me, not to leave the house because I've already lost one eye. So I went out of the house and I was walking to our backyard, and my cousin was raking and cleaning the yard, and the rake had a broken handle, and the splinters went into my left eye, the eye that I'm
What?
seeing with.
What?
I'm telling you, viewers, this was now a double jeopardy, and the rake instantly blinded me. And I was taken to the room, laid on the bed, and people were summoned to call my mom from work, my dad from work. And when my father came home, he just all hell broke loose, and he couldn't take to see me now being blinded in both eyes. So the decision was taken to rush me back to King Edward VIII Hospital, and at that time, the technology and the advancement in ophthalmic surgeon wasn't so advanced. So Dr. Javari tried, and he tried to save as much as the parts of the eye. So everyone knows that the eye is made out of layers. Your cornea, your pupil, your iris, the sclera, then you get your retina, your optic nerve, and that rake had splinters that put a scar in the middle of my cornea, took away my iris, my pupil, damaged my retina, the back of the eye, and for like 7 to 8 months now, I was in the hospital. Doctors now, they found me to be a guinea pig, so they started to experiment, like repairing an eye and finding new ways and techniques. And then on the last attempt, my mother and dad came one evening to visit me in the hospital. It was late. It was like about 7:30 in the evening. And now, during that time, there's no buses to go back home. So it was so apparent that Dr. Javari, my eye surgeon, was there, and he came to the ward to visit me just to encourage me as a little baby. And my mom and dad spoke to him, and my mom and my dad started to cry. Aaron, it was very sad. I remember the whole scene. Just talking to you on this YouTube, it makes me so sad to know my mom's heart was broken. My dad's heart was broken, and my mom caught the doctor and she started to cry, to hail actually. She started to bang his chest with her two hands and said, "Please, doc, do whatever you can. I'll give you a tin of gold." I repeat, a tin of gold. Those days when Indians got paid in the farming community when you worked as a slave, you used to get paid in gold coins for incentives, sovereigns, a gold sovereign. So my mom had a tin of that, more than 36 to 45 coins, and they were worth like thousands of rands. So the doctor told my parents, "Listen, Mr. and Mrs. Naidu, there's no need for any reward. I will try my best. Tonight I'm going home. I'm going to pray to God Almighty to see how we can help your son." And then he gave my mom and dad a lift. Such a kind doctor. And by the way, viewers and listeners, and Aaron, the doctor is still alive today, Dr. Javari. So, so he said he'll give it a try. And on his last try, he managed to salvage 1% eyesight. So everyone knows back in the day when a pupil gets torn or damaged completely and your iris, there's no way you're going to repair it, like taking out a your cataract and putting on an intraocular lens. There's no such thing back in the day. So they just let it be. And it took like 2 weeks before he could take the eye patch out and remove the ointment, the stitches from my eyelids and things like that. So on the day when he decided to do that, uh, took out the eye patch and things like that, you could see the healing was taking place and there's great improvement. And then he took a little penlight torch and he struck it into my eye. And he said to me, "Ian, can you see this light?" I pinched his hand and said, "Yes, doctor, I can see the light. I can see the light." And then he put ointment. Those days, and when he went for an eye operation, there was no eye drops and all this modern stuff. They used ointment. It looked like toothpaste, but it felt like sea sand, Aaron. It felt like sea sand in your eye. So after a few minutes, it cleared up. He put the torch again, and lo and behold, I saw the doctor's big nose right in front of my eye. That was a funny thing for me. And he moved backwards, and then he said to me, "Ian, can you see my face?" I said, "Doctor, I can't see you. It's a bit blurred, but I can see you." Hey, the doctor started jumping and screaming in the hospital. Like, wow, there's some side back. And yeah, so that's how I managed to get the 1% vision in my left eye after 3 months. And so then now my mom and dad didn't know what to do with me because remember, I'm blind in my right eye. I'm visually impaired in my left eye. So they took me and they registered me with the KZN Blind and Deaf Society in Durban Lawn Street. It's an association to help people who are blind from childhood to adulthood to learn braille, orientation, mobility, and if they need a guide dog and things like that, and also to be part of social circles and stuff like that, to have a meaningful life, in other words. So I was registered there. Then they took me to the New Horizon School for the Blind that's in another area. And I couldn't last there. So I think it was a week or less than that. The principal phoned the manager, Mr. Naina, um, Ganesh Naina, and he told him, listen, Ian must go back home because he's missing his mom and he just came out of an eye operation and this child is very sick. So my parents took me back home. So for like 2 years, I stayed away from school. And it was very difficult because my mom and dad, they had great dreams for me. So at this point in time, there was a school next to my house, a neighbor. In other words, the school I'm talking about is the South Coast Madrasa School, a school for Muslims, and it was my neighbor, like neighbors. So one day, my mother and my brother Alvin Naidu decided to take me to the school, and they asked the principal if he could admit me in school. And my mom explained the whole history about my side, and the principal said, "Okay, we'll give him a try." I have to say, the principal was kind, and they gave me a try. And at that school, at the Muslim school, I started to learn some of the Muslim culture and get to know the ways and learn how they uh, speak in the Urdu language and stuff like that. But I wasn't like fitting in, Aaron. I wasn't fitting in because I couldn't make out the blackboard. I couldn't write properly because of the vision. And then the girls used to be bullying me constantly and teasing me, cockeye Johnny, professor, and you know, lots of other teasing names. But like you said earlier, I'm a patient person, and I am. It like never bothered me in school, but when I went home, I was like very recluse and stuff like that. So my parents became a bit worried, and so my dad, who was an artist, he loved to draw and tell stories. So he took it upon himself to start mentoring me as his child. And then going back to the South Coast Madrasa School, the principal, after like nearly close to 1 year, he called my mother and told my mother, Mrs. Naidu, unfortunately, the school is not for blind or visually impaired, but we tried. But what we did teach our son is how to count, how to say his alphabets, and we taught him some nursery rhymes and stuff like that. And he was a very well behaved child, but unfortunately, we cannot proceed him to the next grade. That was a very sad turning point for my mom because she thought I would continue my primary school there and, you know, find some kind of happiness with education. So I was taken home. At that point, I spent another full year doing nothing at home except playing in a yard, learning where things are kept, how to walk from my house to the front yard, to go to the tap, to the bathroom, and things like that. So it was very difficult. During that period, my mom and dad became very depressed seeing me uh, sitting in a corner and, you know, just doing nothing for himself. So one day, my late dad, J. Raj Naidu, decided to visit a primary school principal, Durban South Primary School, and Mr. Maharaj, kind man, very, very kind family. And my dad went there and, having a little general chat, and my dad started to cry. A big man, is crying, shedding tears. And I'm sitting in a veranda, and his wife brought some tea for us. And then the principal asked my dad, "What's wrong, Ronnie?" His nickname was Ronnie. So my dad explained to the principal what is wrong. And the principal, without any hesitation, said, "Okay, we're going to give Ian a try. We're not worried about what the people are saying about your son. I want to give him an opportunity." You won't believe it, Aaron and the listeners and viewers. This man was so kind. The next day, I was taken to school for registration. I was given a place at the school, Devonshire Primary, and the principal called my form teacher, Miss Ramdas, wonderful lady. He explained to her what's my situation and how I'm struggling to cope. And she said to the principal, she's going to speak to all other teachers that will tend to the class on giving Ian a bit of extra attention. And the magic worked, Aaron. Honestly, I'm not going to lie to you, the magic worked. And I had to sit right at the front of the school, of the classroom, sorry. And then I still battled looking at the blackboard because remember my vision is blurred and things like that. And so the teacher put me next to the most intelligent girl in the classroom, and her name was Padrika. And this girl started to coach me now. Listen, this is how you make the T. This is how you do the H. And she started to teach me my sums and things like that. But the 2 years that I spent there, I failed 1 year. I failed class 2. So another year lost in school, in my schooling career. But my parents told me to persevere and don't give up. So during the time at Durban South Primary, Ms. Ramdas found something very, very peculiar about my nature. So she saw the girls like bullying me in a very loving way, like trying to, coax me to come out of the shell and try to be normal as possible. And so then the teacher noticed that like I wasn't fitting in with the girls. So she went to the principal and told Mr. Maraj, you know what, let's give Ian another opportunity, put him in a full boys school. And I can tell you something, Mr. Maraj, I think this lad is going to excel. And lo and behold, the following year, I was put into another school. The name of the school is Clearwood Boys Primary, directly opposite the Durban South Primary. So when I got to the school, in the beginning, it was very difficult for me because I'm with all boys now. And boys at the higher standard are bullies and want to be like gangsters and things like that. But that never deterred my determination to to go on and to get a better education. So the first 2 years of my schooling at Clearwood Boys Primary was very sad, miserable, because I was the only disabled child in the school, and I could see nothing, do nothing. And so when I went to my next grade, which was standard 2, the teacher told me, Ian, you are a very smart boy. If you just listen to what I'm going to tell you, you're going to do everything right and you're going to pass every grade. You'll even go to high school in the mainstream school, right, Mr. E.P. Nareen? And he was a Christian guy, a Catholic guy, Indian guy, Catholic. And I listened to this teacher. He put me right to the front of the school, and he started coaching me, mentoring me. Then he realized my vision is blurred. Let's try and get Ian glasses to improve the eyesight. We didn't even think about this in the beginning. So the teacher called my dad, and you know what? Maybe we should send Ian for the eye testing and see if the glasses will improve his eyesight. And we went to Durban. We went to the optician. That optician started to test my eyes and things like that. He found that I have vision, but very low vision. So my lens was like -6 or -8, and my glasses looked like binoculars, thick lenses both sides. And well, the right eye I couldn't see, so it was a dummy lens, but they had to make it match with the left eye. And then my left eye, I had a bifocal. So the upper was for seeing and the bottom was for reading. Aaron, that was like a real miracle because I could see now a little bit. So my writing improved, my whole lifestyle improved. It was like a leap. It was a giant leap for me to start getting things in order. So I passed my standard 2, standard 3, and now when I came to standard 3, it was even more exciting for me because I wanted to know what is a book prize and why the children are getting certificates for not staying away, etc., etc. And then the teacher started to explain to me. Now this teacher's name is Mr. H.R. Belam, a Muslim teacher. He was my PE teacher, my maths teacher, my science teacher. So he took a keen interest in me because he was my father's friend. They both played cricket back in the day when they were young. And this teacher called me to the front one day when there was no one in the class. He sat me down and said to me, Ian, you have a very hard life. But as of today, that hard life is changing. Every time when you want to succeed, just think of the bell that's ringing at the finishing line and you're going past that line. Just remember those words and you'll make it through every challenge. So the children that were in class that was always coming up in the first 10 and stuff like that, they were very mean and selfish to me, always teasing me, belittling me, bullying me. So I listened to the teacher and I started going home, going over my work 10 times if I have to. And you wouldn't believe it. The results were showing. Now I'm in a top 5 of every standard. Then going into the third position. Then I started to excel in sports. And the teacher started to groom me up as a young lad now, going into grade 7, which is standard 5. After you leave and you go into your metric year. So that was the end of my primary school career, where I really excelled because of the teachers and some of the students who are still good friends with me. Right up until this very day, we thank God for WhatsApp and all the social media platforms. We've contacted one another, and they are so amazed to know that I'm still alive and still making a success of my life, even though I'm a disabled guy. And then I went to the high school, Clever Eye. It was a challenge for me because there now you're a teenager and having a disability is not easy with the young men and the beautiful girls, etc. So it was a big, big challenge for me. And at that time, my left eye started to give me some problems. My dad took me for a checkup, and the doctor was worried about my eyes. And he said to my father that Ian must stop engaging in karate, soccer, cricket, and contact sports. Because if anybody had to hit him hard at the back of his head, his vision is going to be gone. So, yeah, at Clever Eye, I took up athletics, and I really enjoyed my athletics there. And it was a very sad time for me because I loved art, Aaron. I love to draw. I love to make things out of paper mache, clay, and various puppetry and things like that. So when I was going to standard 8, that's grade 10, I wanted to choose art because I wanted to become a fashion designer. So at that year, Clearwood High Secondary School decided to drop that course, and then I was very sad. Then I told my dad, I have to find another school now where I can do this course because at that time in my life, I was designing my own clothes, and my father had his own business, upholstery, and they had a lady working there for him. She used to sew my clothes, my dancing clothes for me because I was a professional dancer, teach children dancing and stuff like that. And then I had to move to Isipingo Secondary School, which is in another area, and finally did the history course. And I graduated with my metric certificate, senior pass. And I passed my metric in a mainstream school, being a disabled child, visually impaired and blind. And it was difficult, but I thank all my friends that walked the journey with me, and more especially my father who stood with me, and my sister Rita Governor, and her husband Henry Governor, because my father and I, we came from a very poor background, and it was very tough for us to do and have luxuries in our life. My school uniform, Aaron, was donated by my brother-in-law. Every year when he orders for his police uniform, he'll order for extra shoes, police shoes, uh, extra white shirts, and socks. So all I had to get was my long pants and my jersey or a blazer, and that's how I managed to finish my schooling with the help of my sister and my brother-in-law. So it was very sad for us because certain things we wanted to do, we couldn't do it. And uh, yeah, so I had a great high school life in Isipingo because there I was part of the community to raise funds for charity, and then I did dancing, where I should teach the kids break dancing, Michael Jackson dances, and taking part in talent competitions and stuff like that. I even have photographs to prove that I've done those things. I will send you a video clip of Michael Jackson's Thriller and some breakdancing pictures you can use for your podcast. And yeah, so when I finished my metric, didn't have enough money to go and study. So I used to sell earrings on the streets of Isipingo to collect money and to raise funds to do some studies. And when I'd done that, I eventually raked up a deposit to do a computer programming course through Pitmans of London. Pitmans of London got accounting, and they had a computer college back in the day, and they had an office in South Africa. So with the help of my brother Albert Naidu, he enrolled me at this college to study for my computer programming and accounting. And so in 1987, I did the computer course. I passed my computer course, programming using the Commodore, the iOS system, the DOS system. And it was very exciting times going into the computer studies and stuff like that. So it was here where I was studying computers. I met my wife, Margaret Naidu. And yeah, a beautiful lady who was studying uh, legal aspects. And so on the 24th of February this year will be 34 years we are married. I'm married to a normal woman, and she's a very smart woman. She works in the South African Post Office, and so she does most of my things for me, running around and stuff like that. So she's a very kind-hearted woman. And I have a son, Denzel Benjamin Naidu. He works for a bank. He's an IT um, uh, guy for the social media aspect. And I have a daughter. Her name is Nikrita Naidu. She's now married to Muhammad. So her name now is Nazira Sheikh Yusuf. And she's a qualified teacher. She is teaching at a Model C school. And recently in our family, we were blessed with a granddaughter, Anaya. And so after studying, uh, going back to my studies, those days now in South Africa, I'm sure the listeners and the viewers and Aaron himself knows that we went through a very bad patch known as the apartheid era in South Africa.
Right.
So during the apartheid period, it was very difficult for Indians, Africans, or coloreds to go into the computer aspect for looking for a job, like being a clerk, handling computers, etc. Where the computer was concerned, it was very difficult to get a job. So I applied everywhere, tried to use my disability to my advantage, but I failed.
Right.
So eventually, my friend, he found me a job to work at a security company as a control room officer. So I took the job. And when I went for the interview, the boss, Mr. Minar and Mr. Beckett, white ex-policemen, so they saw there was something different about me. They could see that I was honest, and I had good moral and ethics, and they know that I could be loyal to the company. Without blinking an eye, they said, listen, go to the office, sign all your application forms, everything, go to the back, get your uniform. Tomorrow morning, you come for training, and then the following week, you're going to start work in the control room. So I took the job. I was very happy. And now, you must remember, I'm controlling 1,500 guards per shift. And that wasn't an easy chore, because every security company back in the day, they had a big board. It was called a pin board. So on the pin board, they had rosters, shift rosters, management roster, and relief roster. And then the rest of the board, it had its way. And of each company, there were security guards, 1, 2, or how many guards they had. So I had to control all those guards. And it was a very interesting time for me, because it was my first paying job, and I loved it. And then I used to work shifts, and so at that period, I told myself, you know what? I studied computers. I want to go into this field, and that started to be like a thorn in my flesh. I mean, why I'm not getting a job in the field that I studied for? So anyhow, uh, my brother Alvin Naidu used to work for a company owned by the apartheid government. The company is called Republican Press, right? So this company was owned by the apartheid government. So while he was working there, he used to visit the post office, talk to the big managers, big deals. And then one day he told the manager, Mr. Lane and Mr. Cunningham, both are from England. He told him, listen, he's got a brother who studied this and accounting and stuff like that. He's looking for a job. So Mr. Cunningham told my brother, listen, send Ian and we want to talk to him. So one day when I was off, I went to visit them and spoke to them, and they asked me if I can cook and things like that. Well, at that time, I was like nearly a qualified chef because I'm cooking from the age of 7 years old. So, so now I told him, yes, I can cook any kind of stuff. Then Mr. Cunningham told me, listen, we're gonna when a post opens up, we're gonna give you a job.
Right,
So
right.
it's a
So,
blessing.
yeah,
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 yeah. You're asking me a
yeah,
question. Go ahead.
yeah. Well, I
So,
mean,
Mr.
right.
So Mr. Cunningham was a very, very astute Englishman with a thick mustache, and his accent was proper English. So he told me, "You're gonna get a job here. I want you to work with me." So anyway, when 1 month went by, he phones my sister and tells my sister, "Listen, tell Ian to come see me. I have a job for him." Next morning I was there talking to him and stuff like that, and he told me there's a job for a cleaner. For a cleaner. Now I'm earning a lot of money in the security company, but this man is telling me there's a job for a cleaner in an Indian area, and I'm an Indian. And if I had to take this job, it was like me being a low caste person in India, where people look low upon you. So I never hesitate. I told him, Mr. Cunningham, I'll take this job. But he told me, young man, you take a seat outside and wait there for 30 minutes. When I come out, when you are not in the seat, I know you are not interested in the job. But if you're still here, I will take you in and get you signed up. I waited there because I wanted this job. So he signed me up. And back in the day, if you worked for the South African government, you had to swear an allegiance. Like going to the court, swearing out on the Bible and stuff. So I did my allegiance and got my uniform and everything. Following day, I started in the post office as a cleaner. Yeah, so it was hectic because I'm a young, handsome-looking guy and cleaning windows, wiping the floors, sweeping the outside area, cleaning the post boxes, making tea for the boss, running up and down to the bank. And then when the postman or the telegram man is sick, I must do their job. I don't get anything extra. So one day, Aaron, my senior manager, Mr. Robbie Smith, who was my controlling officer, came to the post office to see how I am doing, because nobody was giving him reports about my attendance, about my uniform code and stuff like that. So he came, I made him a nice cup of tea. While he was drinking his tea, I was busy working outside. Then he sent for me, can he also see me? I went back inside. He's asking the postmaster, uh, what level of education Ian got. So he says he doesn't know. He doesn't know. So, Mr. Robbie Smith says, you know what, this guy has been a very hardworking person, and I don't want him to do this cleaning job anymore. I want him to move up the ladder. And the postmaster now at that time was a very selfish Indian, because Indians now, they know one Indian who can work very well. They want to keep that person. They don't want to let that person go. So that white guy refused. He told him straight, you get all his stuff and send it to me. I want to see his curriculum vitae. Following month, Mr. Robbie Smith came back to the post office and he told the postmaster, Mr. Ishwarin, I got sad news for you. Ian is going to write the aptitude test, and seeing that he is quite a bright child, I know this child is going to pass. And in In a year's time, you won't be working here for you. You'll be a teller. Teller meaning now you work doing admin work, serving customers, handling money and things like that. So yeah, after 1 year of going to the post office college, I qualified and I became a teller. And then he sent me back to the same post office, Isipingo Rail Post Office. I worked there for 5 months, and then there was a vacancy in another area where whites, predominantly white people lived, and they were all Afrikaners. The AW members, like the Nazi style, you know, that type of people. So anyway, because of because I could speak many languages, I could speak English, Afrikaans, isiZulu, isiXhosa, Telugu, Tamil, a little bit of German, and stuff like that. So they gave me a test, a telephone call test. The area manager for Scotborough, Mr. Botha, called me and he started to speak to me in Afrikaans in front of my controlling director, Mr. Robbie Smith. He was so impressed. He told Mr. Smith, when can I start? So in the month of October, my birthday month, I decided to relocate from Durban to come to Ankomas, where I'm now currently staying. Ankomas, for the listeners and viewers, just a note, it's a beautiful seaside town. We are known all over the world because of our scuba diving, our river rafting, fishing, and the Aliwal Shoal. Ankomas is a National Geographic Heritage Site. So anyway, I'm living here, and I got the job as a postmaster, the youngest branch postmaster ever in South Africa, in the South Coast, in an apartheid town. So it was a shock now for the town. They couldn't stand an Indian man being a postmaster there. It was a very sad time for me because I was being treated very badly by the community. They used to write threatening letters to me. What you must stop working here, we'll kill you, and blah blah blah, and whatever. But I never listened to them. I continued working, and eventually, the area manager, Mr. Pota, liked my work, even though I was disabled. He made me to be a relief officer. Can you imagine now? I'm a relief officer, and at that time, I had to travel to all the post offices in the South Coast, relieve the postmasters, the tellers, chief, the teller, supervisor, and also do training. So it was a very exciting time. And I traveled all over the South Coast. And you wouldn't believe it, Aaron, I did it all with a thumbing a lift from A to B, back and forth. And it was very exciting. During that period, I met many friends, thousands and thousands of friends on the freeway, highways, byways, always stopping to give me a lift and always willing to help me. So that was that. Then in 2001, my eye that I had that little vision with started to give me lots of problems. I couldn't make it anymore. I think it was getting tired now because of all the strain it was taking. And so at that time, I went for 7 operations, and the doctor told my wife, Margaret, listen, Ian, you cannot make it anymore. And that's when my new boss, Mr. Richard Pye, told me, listen, Ian, why don't you take a sick leave and stay at home and give yourself a break, give yourself a rest. So that's what happened. I got out of the post office in 2001. So I got married in 1989 to Margaret Joseph, and Margaret is still working at the post office. And 25th of February, next week, Saturday, will be our 34 years, Aaron. And I have to say, Margaret was my backbone in the latter years of my life. My children were the sum of my happiness, they still are. And my friends, my neighbors, all the blind societies that I'm hooked up with in South Africa, and to the hundreds of visually impaired blind friends that I have all over the country. They all give me the emotional strength, and they help me to build this character. So while I was on sick leave at home, I uh, I found many other things to do to make some income, because remember, I'm not working anymore now. So during that period, 2002, I started to learn how to do web designing and a bit of video editing, and uh, and I loved it. And so I was doing consulting with web designing, and it was fun. And I still love the art. Web designing is an art. You have to have an artist opinion and a graphic designing opinion and a bit of math skills, to love this art. And the passion was so high that I used to help people for free to do web design. And so in 2002, uh, I formed an organization called Missions with a Global Vision with a partner friend of mine, Benny Goinsami, my wife Margaret, and his wife Pushpa. This organization was to help people who are poor and give them the gospel. So we did a lot of work in Amkumas. We went to Swaziland, to Mozambique, and we also went to the Eastern Cape in South Africa, building churches, places of worship where the community can find something to do and things like that. And then in 2003, I went to India for the first time, being blind now, and helping the children there in an orphanage, starting an orphanage. We built a church there as well. In 2007 as well, I took another crowd of 14 whites from our church. In 2008 again, I took another 12 people. I was a coordinator for the trips, encouraging people to visit the motherland. It was very interesting. The last trip that I went with was with 11 whites. They haven't been to India before, and they had a really wow experience. And they never knew India to be such a vast and uh, such a melting pot of different kinds of activities and the lifestyle, etc. And a white man never saw a road where on that one road a car, a cow, a bicycle, a motorcycle, a truck, even like trams, all moving on one road and no accidents. So they were really amazed at that. And yeah, it was very exciting times. Then in 2013, 14, I, at the back of my mind, I had another organization planned. It's called yithembalabakhubazekile. It means giving hope for those with disabilities. So, Aaron, the listeners and viewers might want to know why. You see, I live on the south coast of Durban. Now, the south coast of Durban, people with disabilities, they get nothing. Nothing in the sense of because we're living far from the big city. And in the big cities, this is where your motto comes in. Help one today and a million tomorrow. And I love that. I love the way you're doing things, Aaron. So let me get to the point by saying that the people in the rural areas, they don't benefit from the big organizations, big NGOs, NPOs, because of the traveling distance, and and we don't have no resources, etc. So I formed this organization. We are registered with the government as a non-profit organization, and we ever since the COVID 2020, we've been distributing food hampers to people with disabilities, wheelchairs, giving them white cane mobility sticks. Uh, we even donated 2 braille machines to people who cannot afford a braille machine. That's very sad. So why this organization? You see, the government does very little for people with disabilities. It's not that I want to back, speak bad about the government. The thing is, they have their hands full with every other thing. So sometimes it seems like they don't have enough time to think for those with disabilities. So that's where all my years of public relations started to kick in, and I started to be an advocate, doing advocacy work, fighting for the rights of people with disabilities, etc. And I'm not saying this very proud in a very proud way, full way. I'm saying this with a lot of love because you yourself know how people with disabilities suffer, and we don't have equal access. We don't have equal opportunities. These are the things that people with disabilities are lacking currently in the third world space. And unlike most of the first world countries, they are better off than we are. So we do our best. Currently, we try to fundraise to help a lady to get a refresher, braille refresher, so she can get a job doing proofreading. So we're helping this lady as well. And my motto with this organization is to help people find a person with a disability, see what is it that they can do, and motivate them and inspire them with that talent so they can become proficient and they can try to um, make some income out of that. And in most cases, it seems to be working very well. So that's what I love doing. And I have to tell you and the listeners and the viewers, I have a very big mouth. I can fight for somebody with a disability. That's what I mean. I have a big mouth. If you have a disability and you've been treated badly, I'll be a policeman for you. And we need more like that. And as far as the United Nations is concerned with regards to people with disabilities, etc., it's all in paper, but there's nothing happening practical. I've seen it for my life. I've been in this block 57 years. I'm 57 years old. So no Tom, Dick, or Harry can tell me that the governments are doing everything in their power to put things right for people with disabilities. They must not lie to me because I've been around this block many times. Yeah, that's it. I'm not sure if you want to ask me any questions.
Well, you are by far, anytime that I've consistently noticed over the years that anytime I do an international episode here at Aaron's Opinion TV or Aaron's Opinion the podcast, it's always spectacular. I have consistently noticed that people, you wonderful people from South Africa, you guys love to talk. And boy, oh boy, did I love every word that came out of your mouth. There are not many interviews where I was sitting there the whole time thinking, wow, I am really, really, really glad that Ian is so patient and such a good public speaker. This will probably be, well, very soon you'll meet another great South African friend of ours here on Aaron's Opinion. This will probably outdo his episode, which is already the best. I think you might have tipped me right over the edge. I think this is about as good as it's ever going to get. Absolutely. I just have so many questions, but quite frankly, I really do not have questions for you, only because you spoke with such beauty and grace that you answered any question that anyone would have. I cannot think of a better speaker. I just cannot thank you enough for, everything that you're doing. And I think that your story is so relatable to so many parents and things like that. But I'm also suspicious, and I can tell that you are a person of faith. I am 100% sure, and I can say it with 100% accuracy, that when you were born, God knew that He needed to set you up to make sure that you would hurt both your right eye with a rake and your right eye with a knife and your left with a rake. Because you know what? Quite frankly, if you hadn't ever played with that knife, I don't think you would be helping nearly as many people around the world today, and the world would not be as good of a place.
Amen.
So I'm pretty convinced that that's kind of your spiritual journey, because you have to have a really special spirit to get the knife in the right eye and the rake in the left. I mean, how do you do it, man? I mean, how do you? I'm trying to figure this out.
Can I step in there?
We need to start. We need to start doing some mass. This is just with all the work you do. Thank you.
Can I just step in there?
Absolutely.
All right. The listeners and the viewers and Aaron, let me just share a little experience with you. When I became disabled,
Uh-huh.
my mom had a broken heart. I remember. So in 1973, my mom died with
Hmm.
cancer,
Right.
and my father never got married.
Right. So by the way,
So
so Ian, I would like to let you know, just on the audio, on the recording of the audio though, you only have another 7 minutes. So I would like, this is a
okay,
wonderful story. I want this to be.
speed it up for you. All right. So when my mom died, I became
Well, I didn't want
depressed,
to say that, but
and then I had nothing to do. I was with the gangsters in Clearwood, and then I went to my one uncle took me to church. 1976, I gave my heart to the Lord. He started to teach me to play the guitar, and so during that period, my father was a chef on the ship, cargo ship. Every 6 months, he comes home. He teaches me how to cook the best meals. And at the age of 10, I started cooking my own meals as a blind person, preparing, etc., etc. And I can cook anything you want to eat, Aaron, and the listeners and viewers. And further to that, I am the first blind chef for Kentucky Fried Chicken, Louisville, Kentucky. And I'm an ordained
all
missionary.
wonderful. So let's focus a little bit more on the recording, because I want to get some audio of you talking more about your current and your most recent nonprofit work that you do. So there's probably a lot of people, in all honesty, I know you aren't going to be offended when I say it, so I'm going to say it anyway. There's a lot of people that would be, slightly skeptical of you saying that you have a nonprofit, for many different reasons. So but I know it's true, and I know that what you said is true. But anyway, your current nonprofit, why don't you tell us focus in a little bit more on how people could get in touch with that organization? Certainly, you're going to write a nice description for me. I know you will. But how does someone find that particular nonprofit, and how would someone, if they wanted to help out with that, how would they go about actually really helping your organization?
They can contact me on my mobile, WhatsApp mobile, +2774 660 4426, or they can go to our Facebook page, yithembalabakhubazekile, our YouTube channel, and our TikTok. And also, we are busy with our website. In a couple of days' time, it will be fully loaded onto the domain. And currently, we are looking for people that would like to help with sponsorships of braille cane, a white cane, would cost like about I think about $20 or $25. In South African currency, it's about 250 to about 600 and good models. And if anybody's got resources that is sponsor for blind people, they're most welcome to contact us via my WhatsApp number, or our email is info@yithemba, yithemba.co.za. So it's info@yithemba.co.za. And also go to my YouTube channel and like and comment and share my cooking videos as a blind chef. And yeah, and also I would like to make an appeal to the crowds if they would like me to come and do a motivational speaking or do a cooking demonstration or show people how blind people can cook good food. I'm always available. I'm a valid passport and I'm a police clearance certificate. So I'm available. And let's put the challenge out there. You know what, Aaron, to listeners and viewers, you know what? We don't have master chef for blind. I hope somebody is listening and watching can start this thing off.
Actually, actually, you're onto something. I just want to say that I can talk for a few more minutes here. I mean, all I can say to everything that you've just said is just, I mean, this is truly amazing. And definitely include all of those links in the description of both the video and the actual podcast episode wherever you get a podcast. Now, I mean, just one final question: have you ever considered podcasting or voice acting? Because I would listen to your voice all day. Yeah, I just love your beautiful accent, your beautiful way that you speak. Have you thought about that?
It was very good, Aaron. Let me tell you that my name is Nelson Mandela. By the way, it is very nice for you to interview Ian. Uh, It's an honor for him to be there on your podcast. Also, for the listeners, I just wrote my new book, Healed by Grace. If you would
Uh-huh.
like to help me to do some backup funding or whatever to get this book printed into millions of hands who need upliftment, motivation, why not do it?
Why not? Why not? Why not? And what a great way, what an absolutely magnificent way to end the audio portion. I could not have asked for better. He's, and don't move, don't hang up. I'm not going anywhere yet. He's Ian Naidu. As I said before, holy moly, loved having him in here today. This was by far another absolutely, just an absolute magical experience. I couldn't have asked for better, and I could not have asked for a better first ever live show here at Aaron's Opinion. I mean, holy moly, you just won. Basically, you hit it right out of the park. I mean, I asked you to come and play in the major leagues, and you delivered. I mean, this is, I could not have asked for better. If you guys have questions for Ian, you can certainly comment below on either this video or the live stream. Either way, wherever you like to comment, just comment below wherever you're watching, whether you're watching the uploaded, no matter where you see this episode, just comment below, like it, share it, all of that type of thing. Absolutely another exciting episode of Aaron's Opinion. Click on the links and go check out what Ian's doing. It's truly magnificent. As we like to say here at Aaron's Opinion, to wrap up the audio, thanks so much, Ian. As I like to say, wow, what a great episode. Help one person today, help 1 million people tomorrow. So I still have just a couple of moments. Literally, I just have a couple of moments left here. You're actually still we're still live on YouTube. Don't worry, YouTube, we haven't forgotten. Trust me, I'll get back to your comments. And we know that our great buddy, another great South African friend, has promised to comment below. You'll meet him in just a few minutes. Actually, maybe tomorrow when I get to it, I'll send you over to my next group, the next step in the process. But anyway, Ian, I just want to say to you, cannot thank you enough for joining me today, staying up so late over there in South Africa, and to speak with such beauty and grace. And it's such a beautiful. You are such a character. And don't you worry. The only thing you have to worry about now is trying to lose me, because once Aaron's opinion is on your side, it's impossible to lose me, because when you do the right thing, I make sure to celebrate people that do the right thing, and I'm going to make sure that you're celebrated around the world. And like I said, we have several other great friends, great buddies in South Africa, just like you, who are going to love this and definitely love to help you. You might even know them. Actually, I don't know if you know them or not, but I've even spoken with Sweet Milo. I'm sure you might have heard of that. She's another South African YouTuber who's also blind like us, and she's been on my show before. And then this other guy, Latabo, who you'll talk to in a few minutes. I'm sure he's another amazing friend. But
Yeah,
Ian,
I know him. He's a
do you
DJ.
have? Yeah. But Ian, I mean, before I go though, because believe it or not, man, I actually have to get back to work in about 10 minutes. But before I do, I just want to know. I mean, Ian, you have such wisdom. Do you want to ask me only one question? I usually include it in the recording, but in this case we didn't need to. But usually I like to say, do you want to ask me only one question to really make me sweat, to see if I'm really worth my salt as a podcaster? What do you want to know?
Okay, before I ask the question, I listened to some of your podcast.
Thank you.
Very well done. And,
Thank you.
Congratulations to your team that helps you. And then
I don't have it. The only team that I have is you and the guest. No one helps me, but thank you.
And I would just like to ask you a question with regards to my book, Healed by Grace.
Right.
The editing is nearly done now. Nearly,
Right.
like 1% left.
Mm-hmm.
So once it's completed, then we want to upload it onto Amazon and various other platforms.
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking you as a brother with a disability, would you like to help me to put these books into the millions of hands?
I can certainly try to do that. I know another blind author who has spent a lot of time. She has published several books and she knows how to do that. So I will definitely be reaching out to her, especially if you can make sure to reach out to that person too. I will definitely try to get you connected. Of course, certainly if you mention in the description of the episode that you want help with that, I'm 100% sure that someone will help. But yes, we will make sure that your book is on Amazon.
And the book will be in Braille, audio, and in print. And then before we say goodbye, I have a friend whose name is Cory Fusaki, the South African. He was a biker. He had a terrible accident. He lost his eyesight. He's a musician, and he's also doing audio books into audio. So he's going to do my book for free.
He's going to narrate it. Oh, that's really cool, man. Oh.
So if you'd like to do an interview with Cory, wonderful guy. And he's a musician as well. So
sign him up.
Let me know, and
I'm telling you, sign him up. Get him over to me. Quick.
And I'd love to be an ambassador for Aaron's podcasts.
Really? Well, what if I told you that I have we will definitely the answer to all those things 1,000 times over. Yes, we will definitely talk a little bit later. I do need to I do need to thank you from the bottom of my heart, man. I do need to run. We need to say, and we will absolutely catch up on WhatsApp tomorrow. Believe it or not, actually, you will believe it. Can you believe it? I actually get to do another interview on someone else's podcast in just a couple hours. So, I got to go drink my coffee, eat my steak free, catch my breath, and then get on to another blind person.
For you one day. I like to be a personal chef one day. And before we say goodnight, thank you to all the listeners, the viewers, and to Aaron. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. God bless you guys.
And God bless you, Ian. Thanks so much for tuning in today, everybody, to our first ever live stream. Boy, oh boy, that was a lot of fun. I'm sure you loved it. All right, well, that's where we'll leave it today. Thanks so much. Aaron's Opinion TV right here on the YouTube live stream. Don't forget, comment below with all of your questions. Don't worry, I'm getting back to you. And of course, Aaron's Opinion 6 at gmail.com, 1240-681-9869. Let me know if you want to join the email list for Aaron's Opinion. Let me know if you want to join the public Facebook group. Anyway, those are more things that you can find out about by listening to Aaron's Opinion on wherever you get a podcast. All right? All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Let me know what's going on.
Okay.
Ian will catch up on WhatsApp. You guys will catch up in the chats, in the comments below. As we like to say here at Aaron's Opinion, thanks so much, everybody. Don't forget, like the video, share it, comment. It might just help one more person. That's just a secret. Like the video, help everybody, and of course, help one person today, help 1 million.
1 million tomorrow.
You got it, man. All right, everybody. Good night over there in South Africa.